And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. It's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma.
And this a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Welcome to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And we are here for another week of conversation along with my panelists. Let's say hello to Ms. Lori Parker. How you doing, Lori?
How you doing?
Whoop, whoop. Let's also bring in host of Elephants Exposed, Mr. TNTBS, Mr. CJ Jones. How you doing, sir?
Hi, everybody. Well, thank you for having me back. It's been a little while.
All right. Always good to come home. All righty. And thank you, everybody out there, for tuning in for another episode. We are streaming live and direct on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as YouTube. So please, whatever platform you're on, please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. We will be doing a YouTube drive very soon to try to get people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So if you do see a message from us, please don't get scared. All we want you to do is make sure that you subscribe to the channel for us and share so that we can get other people to subscribe as well. I really, really want to get us to 10,000 followers before the end of the year. That's very aggressive. Right now we're under 100 just by a little bit. But I really wanted to get it to 10,000. And I think we can, because I think that we all know enough people to get them to subscribe, and then they know enough people to get them to subscribe. And if we do that over multiple times, growing to 10,000 will not be hard. And what'll make it a lot easier is the more people that are subscribed, the more it will actually show up in the algorithms and be recommendations for people to subscribe. So we definitely want to do that as well. We may even reach into joining things like Patreon and things like that in the future, just to kind of give the show a little bit more resources so that we can do some other things that we want to do. Because if you guys don't know it or not, all of this is straight out of pocket. So I don't have any sponsors right now or contributions or things like that, but we definitely want to look like that to be able to start growing. Okay, cool. I just lost my train of thought. I should not read while I'm sitting there talking. Should I, Lori?
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's our job.
Lori, don't do it. Don't do it. You'll get fired today, Craig.
I'm not gonna get fired. You
gonna get fired?
Can't fire me. I'm not Craig. Yeah, I ain't getting fired, and it ain't my day off.
It looks light around because I was still a little dark. Anyway, but yeah, so not doing sponsors right now, but looking to do that because we do want to grow the channel, be able to do a lot more things with the channel. So as we keep stepping up, and I'm looking at our analytics all the time. Lori, I sent you a screenshot earlier, but just this month alone, outside of the United States, we've got Canada, Mexico, Peru,
Egypt.
Colombia, Egypt, Venezuela, and the Dominican Republic tuning into the Roku channel. So it's doing a lot. And guys, in case you don't know, Roku and Amazon Fire TV are a lot of alternatives for people that do not subscribe to cable. This is how they get a lot of their content. And both platforms have over 150 million users. So it's a very big audience that just those two platforms provide. Plus, we also want to expand our YouTube platform to be able to not only show this show, but we'll start posting more clips of the show. Instead of just the full show, people will be able to see certain clips that we have throughout the show. So I want to get more into production with that. but a lot of that is going to come at a cost. So we definitely want to make sure that we're keeping up with that. But we also want to make sure that we are giving back in a way to community and making sure that folks that are small business owners, folks that put on events, folks that may have book signings, any kind of thing that they want to be able to get word out and want to have us promoted on air, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to work with you. Perfect example of that, Lori, is you met a photographer with Tight Shots Photography. They're local in the Charlotte area, do a lot of things as far as headshots and everything else. But why don't you take it away and tell us a bit about Tight Shots Photography? Eric, tell us a little bit about Tight Shots Photography, Lori. Tell us, please.
Tight Shots Photography is I have a great photographer that is actually local to the Charlotte area, and he actually will be able to give you headshots, anything if you have any for weddings, anything that you need to do. So he's a great photographer, very hilarious in this one, and he's like a great guy. So I would definitely go for Tight Shots Photography, and you can contact him directly at his phone number at area code 443-528-6622. And again, he is local to the Charlotte area.
Excellent, excellent. And we also have uh, a book that's been released recently called Moments the Weekend by author Catherine Y. Jones. Yes, CJ knows her very well.
Sorry,
Thank you,
I'm a little trigger happy.
You were caught in the moment.
Yes, I was. Yes, it was the music and just
but,
getting
but
in terms of the
it's
book.
not,
I was just
it's not even the weekend.
yes, it is. We're going into Friday Eve.
Oh, it is pre-weekend, sir.
Weekend adjacent is not weekend.
There you
It's
go.
not. It's not weekend
adjacent.
adjacent.
I mean, that's like if I stand next to a white person, that don't make me any more of a white person than I was when I woke up this morning.
You could be Coco.
You know what?
Weekend Eve. So happy Weekend Eve, everybody.
Let me balance out this foolishness by bringing in the broker in charge of Jermaine Parker Realty. Let's bring in the guy that has 26 years of service in the United States military, particularly the Air Force and the U.S. Air National Guard. Let's bring in the guy that sits there and is the reason that we do have people coming in from the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Egypt, Colombia, Peru, Mexico, and Canada, and all over the world. It's the one, the only franchise, Mr. Jermaine Parker, pulling on his beard as usual. How you doing, sir? With his new Jermaine Parker Realty sign in the background, I see.
I like that.
Yeah, you like that? So, a buddy of mine made that for me. I'm going to try to help him promote his business and stuff. So, all I did was give him a JPEG of my logo, and this is wood. In fact, let me bring it for the cameras. I got it. You know, you guys. I've been
that one's wood and it doesn't light up.
Nah.
I like it.
This is a wood.
Yo, that's tight, bro.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
You
need
know
to
I'm about
make something for my business.
Yeah, you know I'm about to get
And
one.
so and he definitely can. I mean, these are great. Obviously, as I start transitioning and getting really serious about content and getting my podcast back together, stuff to hang on the wall behind you. If you have a small
Yeah,
business, you want to have your logo out there, stuff like that. Um,
yeah.
Especially in the military, we have like on uniforms patches and stuff. If you
Hmm.
great retirement gifts if you want to give somebody a custom patch, whether you're with law enforcement or military or any organization really that has its own logo and stuff. These
Hmm.
great retirement gift type ideas, right? That you give somebody on the way out, and he can engrave the back and stuff with years of
Oh,
service
that's
and
nice.
dedicated messages and stuff like that. It does a tremendous job, and he's actually just been sitting around for the last couple of months, learning his craft and getting really good at it. And so I'd be really, really happy when he's full up launched and I give you some more details and maybe commercial him out on here.
So my question is that screened onto the wood or is that etched into the wood?
It's not etched into the wood. These are actual individual pieces.
Oh,
That's
actually,
actually
that
Wow,
makes it even better.
that's
Oh, that's
It's
that's
like
amazing.
it's,
actually
it has like a 3D effect.
yeah, it's a 3D
Wow,
effect. It's actually individual pieces of wood. Those are individuals that have been
Nice.
lasered on.
oh
that's
that's neat.
amazing.
So it's cut out with a laser. He cuts it out with a laser and stuff, and then molds it together.
That is awesome.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
freaking awesome.
Yeah. I need to reach out to him and see if we can get a Bill Parker property management one.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, I'm gonna need about two of those because since we plug in everything and everybody, if y'all know anybody that um that's looking for a small venue DJ, I'm your guy, DJ C Nice. I just upgraded my system a little bit, and it's all portable now. So wherever y'all want for me to throw the party, I got you. I do everything from um, old school to new school, from traditional karaoke to sing along, as well as DJC nice mixes. So whatever y'all want, I got you.
Okay, DJ C Nice.
That's what's
Oh,
up.
I had to have you do a set on the show.
yeah,
Oh
we
yeah,
can actually have
that'd be fun.
have some musical background, or maybe have something on the "What I Don't Like" section. How about that? A little musical intro.
You have to figure out
Next time I'll next time I'll just use my little DJ setup instead of the green screen.
there you go. There you go. All
And
right.
and
Well,
like and like CJ said, since we like promoting all our side business and stuff, I know Valentine's Day didn't go well with some of you ladies and stuff, and you think to yourself, you like the comfort of a man. Reach out to me at Jermaine Parker Realty, because that's not the only space we occupy.
there you go.
Bro, happy side chick day.
And I mean, I got my OnlyFans at Devin Long,
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing stuff out there.
Right.
It's long with three O's in it. And you know why. But anyway, 'cause it's pretty hater doesn't look good on you, Lori. Just because you don't have an OnlyFans page. You too could have an OnlyFans, Lori. There's a niche for that. Anyway, we do want to also plug our realty because Jermaine Parker Realty is here. And we do want you guys to start thinking about, I mean, it is still a little cool outside, but the housing market is going to start to warm up more and more and more. I'm hearing more people ask me questions lately about the real estate market and things like that. If you are a veteran, Jermaine is a veteran. Uh, Keep in mind that there are plenty of programs out there for first-time home buyers and veterans that can make some of those things, such as closing costs, down payments, a lot easier. It doesn't mean that it takes them all away, but there are some of them do. But there are programs out there. We do work with a variety of lenders out there that may have different offers and things. So a lot of times you want to know, am I ready to buy a house? Listen, if you keep paying rent, a lot of times you may be ready to buy a house. You may not be, but how do you
Mhm.
know until you at least start to get the information and find out Am I ready now? Am I going to be ready in the next 6 to 9 months? Am I going to be ready in the next 18 months? It's still a conversation to have because you need to work a plan. Even if that plan isn't today, you have that plan for, okay, our lease comes up in 3 months. Do we renew that lease, or are we renewing it for a year? Are we renewing it for 15 months? How long are we going to do that before we take the next step? And the great folks at Jermaine Parker Realty can help you with some of that information and put you in front of other people that can give you even more insight to what it is that you may need to do. Lori, play that clip. Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions that you'll make. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help you navigate through that process. We know that a home is more than just a place to live. It creates memories. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help. Give us a call and let us get started on your journey. That's right. JP
What's
Realty.
up?
I just wanted to add one thing. I'm sorry. That, and again, I can sit there and to work on this because when you were talking about pricing and thinking about buying a home, actually at work today, I actually had a chance to, I attended a seminar with a financial advisor that I work with at my company. And he was giving some tips about some debt, things like that. So that is something that I was thinking in the background of maybe trying to bring him on the show because we were talking about purchasing home, how to reduce your debt, start for budgeting, things of that sort, and then the different type of products. So I'll be working on that too.
Okay. And maybe, Jermaine, we can work on maybe bringing one of the lenders on to kind of give a little bit more insight without giving everything away, but maybe they can maybe reach a person or two out there that may be interested in what things they may need. Certain things that you do to repair your credit may not necessarily keep you from qualifying to buy a house. A lot of the things will help you with what your interest rate eventually is going to be. So they can talk more into that so that we stay on our real estate side and they stay more on the credit side. CJ, you were about to say something? No,
Yeah,
Jermaine? I know you're not frozen. Jermaine? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, he was frozen.
Oh, he was frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. JP, I thought you were about to chime in on that.
What I was going to say, a couple things just real quick about it. If you're questioning whether you can, you're ready to buy a house, I'm going to be mean and say no. And that's because you're not familiar with, if you're questioning, it's because you're not familiar with what you need in order to buy a house. And that's where talking to a licensed real estate professional and an MLO, a loan officer will help you. Even when we bring experts on here, we're only talking in generalities. To fully understand your situation, you have to talk to somebody, because while we throw out all these different scenarios, unless you are particularly in that scenario where you have that particular credit score, you have that down payment, you're looking for that house at that price point, all these scenarios are going to change because the math changes for every individual and stuff. And so if you're questioning, the answer is probably no, but it's okay. We can get you there. Just give us a call and reach out to us. I did want one more thing. So I was talking about that plaque and stuff. This is actually a retirement gift that he gave me. I don't know if you can see that with the light and stuff reflected on it, but that is
that's cool. That's
nice.
Yeah, that's a cargo plane.
Yeah, so it says, so when we aircraft load masters, when things successfully leave the airplane, we say load clear. Is our call to the pilots up front to let them know that the load's been extracted successfully without any problems and stuff. And so it says load clear on there. It's got my name, my flight hours and stuff. So that's when I flew on this particular type of airplane for about 17 years. So
How many
plexiglass and wood.
How many flight hours is it?
It is 5,800, 5,866, 5,866 hours
Oh,
of
I
flight.
thought you would. Okay. All right.
Hella bit of code
So
three. That's a lot.
That is a lot. That is
Wow.
a whole lot.
I did a little bit of traveling.
So you
Little bit,
spend,
little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
outstanding, bro.
All right.
Yeah. So, but just an example, it's just more than like if he does all kind of different things. So,
Okay.
anything grades and stuff
Is
like that, materials.
does he have, or is he working on putting a website up, or
Yeah, yeah,
shop
yeah, yeah.
site and all
Yeah,
that other?
all that stuff. I think and so here's the good thing is, and again, I'll wait till I get his stuff. I just wanted to show some of the stuff that I have that he was able to give me, like I said, a retirement gift.
Yeah.
My new son back there, uh, but he's like seriously, he has his commercial size engraver and stuff, and he's just been really working the last couple of months of just doing little stuff here and there, starting off small. Like that actual retirement gift was one of his first things he did, and he's gotten so much better since then. And so, what you're really getting is somebody who's been working on their craft and dedicating themselves to being able to deliver high quality material and stuff and products to you. So when you do order and stuff, it's going to be like when I got my logo. It's one thing to see it on TV. It's another thing to have that feel and stuff. Like say that's not print. That's all wood.
That's crazy.
It's individual pieces that have been matted together. They've been lasered out and matted together and stuff, and it looks impeccable.
Wow.
Down to the finish of him painting and stuff. And because me and my brother graduated from the great West Charlotte, that's where my realty colors come in, right? The maroon and gold.
Hmm.
That's where that comes in. Charlotte's the hometown. That's what the background is. And then obviously, just like I'm a part of the city, my name blends into the skyline. There, that's what the concept for that logo. And Bobby was the one that brought that vision of what I told him I wanted. I told him I wanted the colors, the skyline, everything. He brought that logo together. So again, while we're kicking business and stuff, we'll have to get Bobby. If you need a logo design, how to get his information out there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. He's helped us with a couple of designs. He helped me with the Parker Media design. He's helped me with Bill Parker design, your design there. So he's his designs are definitely getting out there, and one of these days I want his design on one of our actual brick and mortar buildings, whether it's the Parker Media building or whatever other realty building that we actually have out there. So got some things that I want to have down the pike, or any other businesses that we do. We definitely reach back out to those folks. Um, it's all about community for me, making sure that we're giving back in a way, uh, not responsibly. I mean, somebody got to put up some good work and stuff like that. I ain't just gonna be throwing out money, just throw out money just because I know you and you know me. But there's so many talented people out there that don't have the backing of big corporations and funding and things like that. And we need to be able to reach back and help pull everybody else up with us and grow together, not just um, keep growing, and not ever look back and that kind of thing. So I'm excited about the fact that we have so many talented people out there where we can, uh, uh, leverage and negotiate and build together without necessarily having to go through huge corporations. They do have their place. I'm not going to say that. Definitely on StreamYard right now, which is a corporation, but whenever we can. It's always good. I do love the fact that Anthony said, Jermaine, because of your flight hours, he said, Spirit Airlines needs your help.
I actually thought that me and Anthony were cool. Um,
That was
I don't know what I did to offend you, Anthony. I let me apologize first. I know what it was first.
I just think he just has a low opinion of Spirit Airlines and thought that you being the
I don't
franchise.
think I
Yeah,
don't think anyone has a great opinion about Spirit Airlines, especially with the memes that go through the internet and Black Twitter and foolishness that's on Spirit.
I didn't know. I didn't think people had a great opinion of AT&T because I was so behind on the joke about AT&T because I have T-Mobile/Sprint. So apparently AT&T had an outage last week, I think it was, that just knocked everybody on AT&T off. And I started seeing all these memes on my timeline about, um, AT&T, and I saw a meme of Little House on the Prairie, like back in the old days where you ain't have no phones and stuff like that. I'm like, the hell are they talking about? What, did AT&T do something wrong? And I had to literally Google, but as soon as I put it AT, then it popped up outage, and I'm like, oh, okay. So they had an extended outage, and
Which
it
is
was.
funny because I have AT&T and my phone worked just fine.
So you never experienced the outage?
Nope.
Wow.
It was in certain areas, and they were saying certain large cities. I know the outage was affecting mostly AT&T, some Verizon customers that were like in Los Angeles, Houston, big cities, and
Yeah, it gave us
AT&T
no,
decided
it
to
knocked
give
out.
$5 as a credit. $5.
Yeah,
$5. That don't even cover
Yeah.
any of the taxes of that you pay every month.
like,
But
bro,
$5 for your inconvenience.
that
You
that
couldn't
don't
call
even
nobody.
cover that don't even cover a gallon of gas good. Either.
Oh yeah, I see the article now about the $5. But yeah,
Shit.
it was that big, and people were mad and pissed and stuff because their AT&T wasn't working. But listen, y'all,
They was at the stores. They was at the stores, and all the workers was like, I can't do anything for you.
listen. If you've had Spectrum, my heart goes out to you because there's always a damn outage with Spectrum. Oh, Anthony, you want me to read this for real? Oh, and I did see this. I did see this meme too. CJ, I'm sorry. Close your ears. There was another meme with Cowboys AT&T Stadium, and they said something about to the effect that AT&T stops working just like the Cowboys. It was a meme. I'm sorry.
That's so funny.
But what made me think about it was Anthony just put on here AT&T outage just like the Cowboys every year. What? They go down when you need them the most.
I feel you, CJ. I feel you.
Lord.
Season's over. So
I mean,
this
people
point.
spend more time talking
Yeah.
about the Cowboys than any goddamn team.
They do. Hey, I've ended my Cowboys talk until September.
I mean, the D is constantly going in your mouth, and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
That's actually
chill,
funny.
bro.
That's actually funny.
If you spent half the time talking about your own team, concerned about your own team, then we can actually have a conversation.
Right.
Oh no, we do because the Panthers suck. We want Tepper to sell the team to like anybody. There's a crackhead on West Trade. Anybody.
First person walk across Mint Street. Here is yours. Here the keys.
I actually read it. Actually, there was an article. I didn't read it because it's hard for me to actually. So, in my defense, CJ, it actually kind of hurts my soul to read too much about the Panthers. So, a lot of things are speculation. But I did see an article with the headline that they were asking what they were going to do about Bryce Young to fix him, and the answer was they were not going to do anything to fix him. They were just going to get him help and stuff. To which I thought was a horrible answer because even with help and stuff. Yeah, this is us going in on our team. I'm going in on my own team. That boy can't stay upright long enough to look downfield to pass it more than 10 yards. And so I don't know if you did on the show. I'd really like to know what his longest pass of the year was, and how many passes for Bryce.
What his longest pass was?
Yeah,
it wasn't more than 20. Was it a long one like that? Did he throw a bomb?
I don't I'm thinking about this one play, but I don't know how long it was. That it was like a wild catch.
Most of his average is probably closer to 11, 12 yards. But I think some of the longest that I've seen were around the 22, 23 yards.
Yeah, and
But most of that
in the NFL,
was after
it
catch.
stifles. Yeah, and when you got a quarterback that anemic and stuff, it stifles your running game. Defenses get to scheme you one way and keep you boxed in. They get to pack the box. There's a lot of different things and stuff. The Panthers, for the foreseeable future, in fact, if they had more fighting like Cam Newton, then they wouldn't have to worry about
Y'all
other
see Cam
teams.
swinging them little young bucks around. Look, Jermaine's referring to a 7-on-7 tournament that Cam C1N sponsors all the time, and these
You mean the
boys
5-on-1?
It was 5 or 6.
It was like 5 or 6 on 1.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and Cam tried to, and you could tell he held back because he could have really hurt them boys.
Yeah.
Well, I think the narrative is with more videos, you get more of it that he was trying to break up a fight. Because they were like he got jumped.
To me, it looked like he was breaking it up. I didn't realize I had to look at the previous. I had to look at the previous. Be like, oh, they tried to jump him.
Yeah,
So the thing was that some people were fighting, and Cam actually was breaking the fight up. And then, like a lot of times when you jump into something like that, it kind of spills over to you too. Still disrespectful, still out of pocket. But Cam Newton routinely in his career used to throw 300-pound men around. I just think that's just a bad idea. But
I thought
really
Cam
is,
Newton
but-
was trying to channel Neo from this way. All he needed was the black coat and everything else to start throwing folks, try to break him up.
Bruh, I don't listen. Okay.
If you can be in the middle of that many people and you don't fall.
So here's my thing. All right. I spent a great majority of my life, being physical and stuff like that. And you just got to know your limitations. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just got to know your limitations. Stick with your strengths. Okay. And my thing is, most of them are looking up at him like this. If you're doing that, rethink that program.
Yeah.
Just it's okay. It's all right. I mean, I know you're mad. I know you're fighting mad.
Yep.
I think the thing that we, and this is just it's just a franchise view, right? Is that our society, and maybe more specifically our culture, has allowed this disrespectful stuff to go on way too long. You see it with small children under the age of 5, and parents think it's cute for them to be cussing. They think it's good for them to be talking trash and stuff. There was a clip that went viral last year of this young man that was trying to talk trash to Cam at that camp. And they say this year was a lot of trash talking too. Now, trash talking is part of the game. However, when you're trash talking a NFL MVP and you're in high school with no accolades and stuff, that's the whole thing about trash talking, is that there has to be something substantial within the trash talk for it to be valid. You just can't yell at people.
And you can talk to me because you ain't even on my level yet. How many college championships have you won? How many of this, and how much recognition do you have? Like, what the problem, Jermaine, what you're saying is that a lot of these fools are being disrespectful because they think that they're on the same level as Cam Newton. You ain't done. You can't hold it as you can't even hold his jock strap, much less anything that he needs to be bringing to you. You need to be either taking mental notes or literally writing everything that comes out of that man's mouth down and seeing how they can be better as a player.
Yeah, it's just things that you don't see.
I saw a little reel about that, and speaking on both of y'all points, where one guy perspective was talking exactly like about what JP was just talking about just now, and just to be visited, because I used to play PAL League, And just to be visited by a true professional in whatever sport you're in,
Huge.
that in itself is like, to me, it was like mind blowing. I would have lost my cool. I would have lost everything if E. Smith would have came out there and was like, all right, I'm gonna work with the running backs today. And you're like, I can't even feel my legs, bro. I can't run. But to what Jermaine is saying is that just like this other commentator said it, he blames social media. I forget his name, but he's on one of the main sports commentating shows, and he was saying that he blames social media. And at first, I didn't get it until he started explaining it. I was like,
yeah,
it is social media fault.
A lot of it is,
I mean, it's actually, y'all. I think it's a combination. I think it's the parents' fault for just raising hellions. It's society's fault for these candy ass rules that we got for raising our kids. 3, then it's social media fault because everybody has something to say. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody is trying to be heard. And you feel like you are on an even playing field, and you're not. To what you were saying, you're not in the same. You are nowhere near my level. You're not my pedigree. Like, you are literally, you do good to be my apprentice, if anything. So society has failed these young people. The parents have failed young people.
Yeah, to your point, man, I think it's parents, and so everything stems from that because you don't have access to social media without the lack of parenting or fraudulent parenting. I don't know really how to say it. It's just one of those kind of things where I think that you don't see that kind of disrespect at a Eli Manning camp. So when I say it's culturally something that I look at, it's something that I see from us, right? Even when kids would challenge, like, and don't think that athletes have not been challenged at their camps and stuff, because there have been kids at a Michael Jordan camp that challenged him, right?
And
got shut down.
They asked on the spot. I've seen them do it. Yep.
But how did they challenge him?
He really
they didn't say that they going to win championships and stuff. That's really how you challenge greatness, is by matching greatness. What they were saying, I'm a great shooter. I think I can shoot with you, right?
Right.
And so therefore it was a respectful challenge and stuff. You can trash talk in a respectful manner. The way these kids in Atlanta, and to Anthony's point, Fulton County, and say, first of all, I'm not talking trash kids from Fulton County, and I get it, bro. I get it. And I think it's a bigger conversation about parenting and where the direction of our children are, which I think kind of segues into one of our big points for the show: children.
Very nice. I like
Thank
that.
you.
You did a good job on that. So, as Jermaine has just alluded to, one of our first topics, and I apologize, y'all, if my voice sounds crazy, if I sound a little stuffed up, it's because I am. I'm having a cold, and Lori was nice enough to fix me some good peppermint tea. Look at her. She all happy because I said she did something nice. Anyway, the Alabama Supreme Court made a ruling that frozen embryos should have the same rights as actual living, breathing children. This is a result, and I'll go in for just a second, but this is a result of the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade after nearly 50 years of precedent. Roe v. Wade is, and it's kind of funny when you think about it, Roe v. Wade was not a full-on abortion access up until the day of birth or any radicalized thing. Statistics show that most women that had abortions, it happened within the first 20 weeks of their pregnancies. 40 weeks is normally a full term, with regards to being pregnant. But the right wing had used abortion over and over to tell people that radical left people were allowing abortions up until the day of birth. And the first thing I'll say to that is, if anybody had to abort a child at the time of birth, it was because somebody's life was in jeopardy. The baby had been declared still and was not going to be able to be born, and it is technically an abortion to remove the baby if it doesn't pass through. So it's a technical term at that point. If you're aborting a baby that is not alive, it is technically an abortion because you are aborting the pregnancy. But they take those numbers and they group them in to scare people that there are people that even after birth, there's an abortion, which is an insult to anybody that believes that, because they want you to believe once somebody is born, you can abort them, which is not possible.
Which
That's
is
just simple, that's
stupid.
just simple murder. Once somebody has
That
been
would be
born,
murder.
they come out of the womb,
Ignorant
taking the
mother-
first breath, they thump their heart and their heart starts beating, or whatever, the ticker's going. They're a person. If you kill them, that's murder, period. So let's go from that.
Exactly.
Now, the other problem with overturning Roe v. Wade, and a lot of people will tell you that they're pro-life, and I'll get into that maybe, but there is no sense where this is pro-life. This is more of a theocratic move on our country, where once Roe v. Wade got overturned, it opened the floodgates for theocrats to now want to decide for everyone else their perception of life and when life begins.
Right. That part.
Scientifically speaking, life does not begin at conception. People want to believe that once a sperm and an egg do the hanky panky and the mambo, that is the creation of it. It is the start of life. Don't get me wrong. But what has been scientifically defined as life is life that can be viable outside of the womb. Okay, a zygote cannot be viable outside of a womb. A fertilized egg is not viable outside of a womb, meaning that if you just take a frozen embryo, sit it on a petri dish, it cannot live, breathe, think, or do anything. Can't take it to school, can't sit there and put it in the car seat, none of those things. But there's a lot of theocrats, and the Supreme Court in Alabama, filled with them, decided that, hey, we're going to make frozen embryos children because those are God's creations. And the side effect to that was all of these aspiring families out there that want to have children, but women that are having a hard time getting pregnant, one of their few options is IVF, in vitro fertilization. And what they do is that they will take embryos and they will, in a lab, have sperm fertilize that egg and then freeze those embryos. And then those embryos are placed into a female's body. Not all of the embryos are sustainable or are good for or viable. If a clinic under this law were to discard the unviable embryos, they could potentially be sued or arrested for homicide, for wrongful death.
And I know
Sorry,
you're on
go
the
ahead.
road, but I did want to jump in the other part, and you're probably going to get to this too. The other part
Yes,
of
go
that is that when they do IVF and stuff, they don't just do one or two at a time. It's inefficient and stuff. They do a mass lot, right, to better
Right.
their odds for getting the females pregnant. So even if they are viable and they're frozen and stuff, and we only wanted one child, we got our one child and stuff, there's leftovers.
Right.
And the now moral question is, well, then what do you do with those eggs if they're people? And they're frozen? Does that mean, so how the storage issues, like to infinity? So these have to be taken care of forever, which is really what's thrown in a kink for people being like, oh, well, we can't even do that because what's to say our company does go out of, what happens when the company goes out of business? Are you as the parent then now liable for finding new storage and those fees and that whole business and stuff? I Yeah, I've got a spare freezer and I'm going down to Alabama next week. And so anybody that needs to have some egg stored and stuff, I have very low storage fees. But for everybody else,
Dark, dark
Go ahead.
thought.
Go ahead, CJ.
No, I'm just saying, like, 'cause as my brother was talking, I was just thinking like dark thoughts in my head. I was like, maybe that's why
I was thinking about child support myself, but go ahead.
No, I was thinking. No, what I was thinking about what I was thinking about was masturbation. For people that masturbate, like that would make you like a serial killer, wouldn't it?
Well, actually, so no, not you, because it's not a fertilized egg, it's just sperm. But your wife or girlfriend could be a mass murderer, and here's why: because a lot of women get eggs fertilized that most of, like, after and darn Republicans for making me look up stuff. It's like 80% of fertilized eggs don't even make the trip to the through the fallopian tubes and stuff.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
then those that do that will get discarded through that great time of the month for women and stuff. And so there are fertilized eggs that will come out through menstruation.
Yes.
Under that law, when you're killing kids, you're killing people every month. Well, I mean, assuming that you're sexually active, right?
Well,
obviously you're not sexually
right,
active.
absolutely. But yes, and it's just, and then, but at the same time, this is the party that is pro-life, and then they have gone on TV to talk about that they are in support of IVF and all this other stuff, and it's just kind of like, no.
The math just ain't mathing, sis. It just doesn't.
It's not
make
mathing.
sense.
It's not mathing.
It's not. It's just and again, y'all know how I am about my faith, my Christian faith, and everything else. That's just something I don't rock with. It has to make sense, guys. I'm a very big believer of the Bible. I believe everything that the Word of God says, but that does not line up. It doesn't line up. And so when the extreme right tries to use their quote unquote Christian faiths and beliefs, whenever they try to merge these two together, it doesn't line up. Everything that what you're doing is that you are merging your personal thought along with something that you're trying to hide behind to control the masses of people because they don't think like you.
Right. Well,
that's what you're doing.
And CJ, to that point, without going too deep down that rabbit hole, when you talk to people, particularly Christians, about their walk, first thing, the word that you used was the P word, personal. It's your personal walk. It's not policy. It's not meant to be an overarching regulation for everybody else. Your personal walk is supposed to be your personal walk. It's the way that you have said, this is a blueprint for my life. And if you want to encapsulate your family into that because you're the head of the house and you believe everybody else got to defer to you and all that bullshit. But if you believe that, that's fine. But it's regulated to your household. It doesn't mean that it's for 350 million Americans in this country. And that's what happens with these right wingers is they take their personal walk and make everybody try to walk with them. But under the same breath will say, hey, we're in the freedom, we're in the liberties and everything else. No, you're not. You're only into the ones that you agree with.
There you go. And that's my point.
You're not going to agree with two queer people going to an adoption agency wanting to sit there and adopt a child. You're not going to agree with that because you think they're a damn abomination.
Right.
You're not going to sit there and be okay with people wearing condoms because you think if they spill because they're keeping women from getting pregnant and you're supposed to sit there and go out, be fruitful and multiply. So there's a lot of things that your personal walk bleeds over into infringing upon other people's rights because you think that your religion, your belief reigns supreme over others.
I
When
think that
even if you don't say that, if you're saying that my beliefs should be the compass of how we do policy, how we accept things as acceptable versus non-acceptable, you are indeed, which is again the whole separation of church and state. It wasn't that the writers of the Constitution didn't believe that religion played a part in people's lives, but what they wanted to do was instead of sitting there saying one religion over another, because even in the Christian community, you got Baptists, you got
Denominations.
Zionists, you got Lutheran. So then,
Yeah,
if you start saying, okay, well, we're gonna go by the Southern Baptist ideas, and that may have some variations against what Methodists do.
yeah,
Instead of them writing a constitution that focuses on Southern Baptists and basically say, well, if you're a Lutheran, hey, good luck with that. Now you're sitting there establishing which religion is better than another religion, and you cannot do that. That's why separation of church and state is so important, because we aspire to the fact that everybody should be free to worship who they want, where they want, and how they want. And taking those
correct.
religious views and making them a part of a policy can spiral out of control real quick,
Just
because
like it is today. And
because
that's
you know,
the hole that we find ourselves in. Just what you just said.
right, and
That's
that's that,
why we are dealing with this can of worms right now.
it is. Go ahead,
well,
Jermaine.
I think the thing that you have to understand is that there's no argument to be had with people of faith, because people of faith believe in things that they cannot see.
Correct.
Right.
And so
That's what makes it
therefore
faith.
you can't argue facts with somebody who, because their faith dictates it, I don't have to believe what my eyes see. I just have to believe what it's in my heart. So when you talk about things like signs and stuff like that, and that's fine, as you guys pointed out, for a personal journey. Because if you allow things in your personal life to your moral compass, the policies and rules that you live by that are dictated by either family dynamics or by your religion and stuff, that's fine. Especially for Christians who are allowed every Sunday, when they violate all the things that they propose that they're supposed to be doing, to go and ask for forgiveness. The problem is that law is not designed for that. Law is designed for public safety.
Correct.
Right.
The reason that the speed limit is the speed limit is not because we feel in this curve 40 is a little fast. It's because an engineer says that most likely most people of average driving skill should only go this speed on this pavement, that this roadway is only built for this. And that's the reason we have these laws. And that's how most of our laws should be public safety driven and oriented stuff.
Yeah.
Because in America, when we talk about, again, you talk about the land of the free and free choice and stuff, a lot of things are ambiguous because they're either states' rights, personal rights, local, because everything, because we recognize that the country's not a monolith. The things that are good for North Carolina are not necessarily good for Texas, not necessarily good for Arizona, not necessarily good for California. And that goes from water rights, because of access to those, because everybody doesn't have the same access. Oil, drilling, gas, all that kind of stuff are different from area to area, and the same thing can be said for these kind of issues. If that's something that you're into, then that's something you're into. A lot of our problems in life would be solved if white people would stop being so fucking nosy and mind their own goddamn business. That's one of the biggest problems that we have, is that because quite honestly, why does it matter to you what another couple is doing in their bedroom and stuff? You fucking perverts.
Right.
They
And
want
why are we doing it?
they
That's a
want
good
to.
one, bro. Thank you. Why are we paying people attention so much like that? I know why. Social media.
Well, actually,
Everybody
it's
has to have an
racism.
opinion about what you are doing.
Yeah, it's actually racism. And here's why. And because you find this a lot, and I know because I hadn't done it in a while. I missed last week. I apologize. I didn't get to give you. This is why racism is a part of our life. In this, but it really is. And when I say white people are nosy, it goes back to the fact that black people didn't have autonomy in this country for 400 years. And one of the things that happened when slaves were free and stuff was that they were still presented with the fact that they had slave patrols, which kind of turned into our police system now. And a lot of white people were charged with the burden of making sure that these pesky Negroes stood in their place. That's why we had sundown towns and stuff. You're not allowed to be out past dusk in certain areas. There's still certain areas that still have them on the books. They just haven't revoked the laws. They might not enforce it, but they're still there. And what I say by that is that what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I need to know what you're doing.
You know what?
I need to know.
I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to cut you off, but that literally happened to me 2 weeks ago. I was in Gastonia. I just dropped somebody off, and I stopped on the side of the street. There was a business to the side of the street. They had a fence, and it looked like some kind of commercial business. They were way off into the side doing whatever they were doing. I'm sitting in my car, got my light on. You know, you could obviously see what I was there doing. And I was just trying to catch up on some stuff and plot my way back to Charlotte. And I kept seeing a light flash and it would go down. And I finally looked over and it was a security guard, I guess. And he was using this little regulation flashlight. And I rolled down my window and I said, "What is it?" And he was on the other side of the fence and he says, "Can I help you?" I'm like, and that's exactly what I said. I said, "No, I didn't ask you for any help." I was about to run one up. He says, "Well, you out here waiting on somebody? You know, what are you here for?" And I said, "Why do you need to know that?" "Oh, I just wanted to know." I said, "Well, it's none of your fucking business." I rolled up my window.
Yeah.
But it was that entitlement for a grown ass man to think that he had some kind of reign on me, to have the audacity to ask me to explain why I exist or why I'm in front of where he works, as if he owns the road. Negro, you own the building and the land that it sits on, but you don't have rights to the
and I'm
road.
not on either one of those.
And
If I may,
and
if
I'll
I
have to
may,
explain that to you, why I'm here and what am I doing.
if I may,
There's no probable
if I can,
cause, there's no commission of a crime. Go on about your little silly RoboCop ass and handle
yeah,
your. I'm because I'm sure there's a chair waiting for you to fall asleep in it.
oh wow, okay, man, y'all just beating my little career path up. But in
They
my
need to
defense,
make their own damn business.
in the
With me,
defense
somebody
of,
was taking the place on the other side.
I understand. So in the defense of security going all the way up through law enforcement, I did it the long way. I was the flashlight cop all the way up until until I actually became a cop. So here's the thing, guys. It's because scenarios like yours is the reason why I became a police officer. Because I was that one that I would hear about all the time, people overexerting their authority, making themselves bigger than what they were, stuff like that. So I was like, I want to change that. I want to change it. Nobody in my family, I'm the only one that decided to put my foot into security law enforcement to see, like, what is this thing? And maybe if people see more like people like me that actually would just do the dang on job and go on, leave people alone, let people live, things like that, then maybe you can follow my pattern. And now I don't know how many people that was under my training actually took on that training and grew from there or started teaching others, but I would like to think that a great majority of the people that fell under my umbrella did not end up in your situation. Everything from approaching someone to, I mean, it's all about again, it kind of like goes back to the very thing that I said before. Know your limitations. Leave people alone. Unless someone absolutely needs your help or something like that. Hey, y'all, you all right? That's probably what I would have said, through the fence, because you say you was through a fence, right?
My
Hey,
car
sir,
was
you all right?
My car was in park. It was running.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, sir, you good? And you probably would have been like, yeah, nigga, And I'm like, okay, cool.
And to your point, and then that's where it stops.
Exactly.
Because once I say I'm good, I don't need anything,
That's
I'm
it.
not
I'm
doing
good.
anything. That's it,
Okay.
right?
Well, have a good night, sir. Just wanted
Yeah,
to make
because
sure you were okay.
'cause I'm not telling people that they shouldn't be curious and helpful and stuff like that, but that's not the intent of these things.
Wasn't
That's not
Right.
to segue back into what we're talking about. That's not the intent of these laws. These
right.
laws are not designed to be helpful. They're not designed for public safety in mind. It's not
Right.
because people are committing crimes and stuff. It's because I feel like I have autonomy still, like a slave, over your
Right.
body, the way you think, where you live, everything.
And then
And
let me
it's
take your freedom papers, boy.
And Jermaine, and even to that greater point, now we're giving frozen embryos more rights than we're giving living, breathing women.
Well,
and
I
so
mean, we should have caught that clue whenever they was giving more rights to animals than human beings, man. I mean,
well, I
come on.
mean, this is I mean, so
Not a
in
far cry.
The United States is hilarious, right? Um I mean, it really is. It's a hilarious place to live. It's full of people, so therefore it's naturally full of contradictions, especially with our different backgrounds and stuff. I get that, but this is the same place that thought that black people were 3/5 of the people, and they think a frozen egg is a whole person. So I mean,
Wow.
it's amazing what the
Yeah.
laws that have been passed around here are, and it's going to take a higher. Now, obviously, this decision will be appealed. What's not so obvious is that it will be overturned. And that's where the question is about where we are as a society, is that we allow this kind of stuff to take root, where these kind of intrusive ideas into people's personal lives and stuff are allowed to go unchecked, and in fact are championed by other people. The Republicans, to your point, have come out. I think Laura said this. Do you know they say they're pro IVF and stuff? They are, because there was a backlash because they didn't see. Well, number one, I don't think that this whole case about the wasn't even about determining if embryos if they were alive and stuff. It was because a lab tech had dropped a glass.
Yep.
Yep.
It just dropped
Oh,
a test tube or whatever and
Yep.
stuff.
involuntary manslaughter.
And they took it was a large leap. If people think that every week I get on here and I make a large leap into history about connecting how racism influences most of the decisions in America and stuff, then they should read that decision, because it was a very large leap from what was brought to before the
Yes.
court for them to decide to the conclusion that they came to.
Yes, and
And
then for them talking about it just in general, saying, "Well, I support IVF." I'm like, you don't even know what it is. You didn't even read the decision. You didn't read it. It was just horrible.
well, it's
And then
because
they kept spitballing.
well, a lot of times, like I tell my daughters all the time, you can make decisions, but what you can't make is the outcomes. A
Right.
lot of times, the decisions you make, the cascading effects of those decisions are beyond your control. And when that court made that decision, surely they did not think about IVF.
Right.
You know why? Because they probably didn't know what it was. They're not
Yep.
scientists. They didn't take a med. They're not doctors. They took their personal opinions about something that was well beyond science, because no scientist would ever co-sign on that. No doctor would ever co-sign on
Right.
that decision and stuff. And so, for them to say that they didn't have the vision of the cascading effects of their decision, that's part of the reason why
Right.
they didn't, and
But
why
then
Republicans.
that goes back into my faith outweighs your science.
Well,
Right.
and the amazing thing about that is that Democrats, as soon as the Dodd decision came down, said that reproductive rights and birth control
Yep.
were going to be
Be
attacked
on the
because
table.
of that.
Yep.
They were going to
Yep.
be on the table. To which Republicans said, "No, it's not."
No,
And
we just
he would
want to
say,
make it where the states make the decision. Federal government overreached, so now we're bringing it back to where it
"Yeah."
should have been all along.
And
No.
Okay.
that's really what Dodd's saying. Dodd's not saying. Dodd's just saying that the federal government overreached in their decision making.
Right. It
That it
was
was more states'
unconstitutional
rights.
for the federal government to have Roe v. Wade in the first place, when this
Yeah,
should have been a 50-state solution
yeah,
instead of a one size fits all plan, which is what Roe was. They felt like all of the states, state rights. And that reminds me of something that we had issues with before. Civil War.
yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah.
worry about that.
And how did that work out?
It may be coming. It may
Yeah.
be coming. Who knows?
Well, it's
Well,
always
hell,
Hey.
the right side been calling for it ever since this whole crap about Trump. And speaking of Supreme
Man,
Court,
everybody's
Supreme
getting
Court,
good at the throws.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Great throwing. Okay, good throw. All right, so Donald Trump is still embroiled in all of his legal battles and things like that. We've got some issues going on in Fulton County, Georgia, right now, where that's kind of got that case suspended because everybody want to know if Nathan Wade was banging Fonnie from the back real good or whatever the case may be. So we got to go into all that
has
salacious.
shit to do with nothing.
And really the biggest issue right now in the case is that the defense is just, again, it's a delay tactic or it's an attempt to make the case be dropped. But the only problem is that they were indicted by two grand juries. One was a special use grand jury to do fact finding, and then the other one was a grand jury that all of that evidence was presented to. And they actually recommended more people be indicted than the 19 Fonnie Willis initially indicted. So we'll see how that goes. It is a bit messy. Folks have to realize that when you bring charges against people like this, they will throw mud and dirt at you, and you have to be somewhat prepared from that. And unfortunately, you have to make sure that you ain't got no kind of skeletons in the closet that they can even throw a doubt into it. That's a whole subject. We'll talk about Fonnie Willis case another day. There's a criminal court case still going down in the state of Florida about the documents case. That one is teetering along. There's supposed to be a review on Friday, tomorrow, actually. This is Leap Day. Happy Leap Day, by the way. But this is one of the cases where Judge Eileen Cannon is going to hear from both sides for them to figure out if their May 20th case is still on track to go. There's a lot of doubt of that because there's a lot of classified information issues that still have to be played out. So we'll
Excuse me.
that. Yep. Tanya Chutkan's case has been delayed indefinitely now, as the Supreme Court yesterday did decide that they will take up the Trump case as far as immunity, even though a DC Circuit Court of 3 unanimously came through with the airtight brief that basically shot down the idea of absolute presidential immunity, regardless of whether it is within or on the outer scopes of a president's duty to commit crimes. They're actually going to hear it. They're going to start having briefing arguments over the next couple of weeks with, I believe, an April 22nd oral argument. Once the oral arguments are presented to the Supreme Court, then they have all the time in the world to be able to come back with a decision. But we thought it was going to be where they were going to basically let Trump be able to stay on ballots, but then shoot down his issue of absolute immunity, just for the simple fact that, as Judge Florence Pan had asked his lawyer, if he ordered SEAL Team 6 to take out one of his legal opponents, would he be covered under immunity? And the guy kept waffling back and forth and saying he'd have to be impeached first. And if he's not impeached, then basically nothing could happen to him, which I say this one thing to this one point. If Trump wins immunity, would he not be scared that once he wins the Republican National committee, once he gets the nomination, what would stop Joe Biden from just bombing the shit out of Mar-a-Lago and taking him out?
Well,
Now, I know the real answer to the question is, ain't nobody.
You already know the answer.
I know the answer to it, but are we still arguing for the fact that Kamala Harris would be able to sit there at the end of the November election and say, "Nah, I don't like that one. Nah, I don't like that one."
Exactly. So everything that they was bitching and complaining and projecting about that was coming from the quote unquote left side, then you can actually, if everything goes as planned.
Yep.
If everything goes as planned, because they ain't hiding their plans. They're actually telling you exactly what they're trying to do. So if everything goes as planned, then all the left side would have to do is just actually act out everything that they were saying. Oh, they're going to stop us. They're going to, the vice president can could change the ballots and all, like everything that they ever projected that was just like totally like left field thinking. It, so and only thing they would be doing is solidifying what they were actually trying to do, which is it's just it gives me a headache to even think about it. To me, it's just dumb.
Traditional politics actually kind of follows a lot of our international policy about having a big stick and talking quietly. A lot of things that we don't do internationally with, let's say, a natural adversary like Russia, is because they could probably do it back to us, kind of thing. Right. And that's how Republicans and Democrats have operated, because they understand that just because I'm in power this session doesn't mean that the next election I won't, the power won't switch and stuff. So never give the majority too much power, because when you're in a minority, you might suffer for it. Trump, who is a pariah and a disease upon our political system, does not care about the rot that he spreads. He's 78 years old. He's very well aware that he's not going to live another 4 years. He probably won't live another good 10 years. And if there is really a Christian God, he probably won't live past the weekend. But the thing is that he doesn't care, and so he's willing to disrupt the social norms within our politics and stuff, because he's never going to have to pay for the repercussions, because there's not going to be a Democratic president that we elect within his lifetime that's going to be ruthless enough to be like, you know what, he's a political, because he'll still be talking. Let's say that he won 4 years after he wins and stuff. What then? He's still going to be talking and stuff, right? He's still going to be kind of, claiming all this stuff. And but what's to say the next Democratic president does say, you know what, you talk a little bit too much on you, a little spicy over there. Won't you hold this 55 grains? And we talked to you. We talked to your wife about those arrangements. I mean, we can put you on the 17th hole. But he's not. Ultimately, he's not worried about that. I am surprised, though, that the Supreme Court's going to hear the immunity case.
Right.
And the only reason I'm surprised is because there wasn't anything in the lower courts that, within their decision, their reasoning, and the arguments brought by, and it's one of those kind of things. I'm not sure what you're looking for, what you think that you're going to find outside of what was already brought to the first court.
I'm thinking, though, Jermaine, is that they wanted to put their thumb on the scale and say, we concur. I think they're going to concur with it, but I think they wanted the decision to come from them and not overall from a district court, which was the whole reason that Jack Smith had come to them in December and said, I need you guys to go ahead and decide on this because it's going to come to you.
And so that's why I'm curious. Go ahead, CJ. I'm sorry.
No, I'm still in line with both of what y'all saying, but I also think it's all in what, Brian, you started out this conversation, and it's all about delaying. This is not about merit. This is not about merit at all.
Well, it's gonna show up on their April docket.
Yeah.
So it's
Thank you.
not.
Yes. And it's about their fealty to him.
Yeah,
it's
but the thing is so that the decision
we did, basically they're pulling an Eileen Cannon. That's the only thing they're doing. They just pulling the Eileen to where they trying to show their faithfulness to the whole right wing side of things, but knowing that this is a losing battle.
Well, so here's the thing about the Supreme Court is that everything doesn't go to the highest court in the land, because a lot of lower level decisions are airtight and the appeals don't have anything different than what was in the court case. I seriously doubt, without having read anything, that there's anything different there. And as my brother pointed out, Jack Smith had already gone to them and asked them to make a determination, to which they said they wouldn't. They would let the lower courts do it. The lower courts did it. And now they're going to hear the appeal, which is, again, strange, because number one, you could have heard it to begin with. Number two, it was airtight at that level. And the only reason the Supreme Court usually weighs in is that there's something in the appeal that
Right.
says we didn't get to present this, and it was a solid argument, and
Right.
therefore you need to hear this because that court either dismissed this evidence or we didn't have the evidence at the time of the trial and stuff.
And knowing if we were able to present this,
With
it
this.
may have a change on the ruling.
And I
But-
just and there's no
you're
such
basically
thing.
just- But if you're just basically taking it to co-sign on what already was said, that's actually more a waste of judicial time than anything else. By you
It
just
is.
saying, you just want
And
to.
it's, I completely understand what you're saying in terms of the delay tactics, and it may be just that, but it's in terms of fidelity. If they're gonna, at the end of the day, which I believe they're gonna have to do, because it's ridiculous to say that the person that's supposed to, again, what the lower court said, it's ridiculous notion that the idea of the person that's supposed to enforce all the laws of the land is immune to them, is
Right.
above them. Is crazy. That's not how our system was set up.
Because actually that would render them useless too, because then
Yeah.
they're called the Supreme Court, but then they would have to be called the Supreme Court except for him.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because
And-
he would be over them basically.
That's just like
Yeah,
the craziest argument. Because like one of the craziest, and I think we talked about it at one point in time. We've been talking about this whole Trump thing for a long time now, but one of our previous conversations, we were even talking about the two hats that the president of the United States wear. He's unique in that sense. He's not only the president of the United States, but he's also he's also the commander in chief. So he's a civilian and he's an officer. And remember, they were trying to make that big old argument.
He's not an officer. I was talking about.
Well,
He's not an officer. He is the civilian control over, but he's not an officer.
But because of that right there is the reason why they were saying, oh, he's not an officer, but
he's not subject to UCMJ. He doesn't have to abide by any military rules and stuff. This goes back to the British and how they ran things and making sure that the army could never take over the government. That's why we didn't have a standing army for so many years and blah blah blah. A lot of history in that. But the thing is, to your point about with his position and stuff, and what these rulings could again, you can make decisions, but you can't control outcomes all the time. The cascading decision is that he does win the immunity case and stuff, and says that he's above the law and stuff, and Joe Biden throws him in jail. He doesn't have to kill him. He could take it. Joe Biden could unilaterally just take his name off all the ballots. Joe Biden says, "I'm going to take his name off the ballots, and there's nothing you can do about it because no one can check me, boo boo." And so he runs unopposed, and he's the president and he changed. And that's the cascade effect of I can do whatever I want, which Trump kept saying over and over in his presidency, I can do whatever I want. And if he actually gave that power right now and that decision came down, and Joe Biden goes, well, only Democrats can be president.
Right. and guess what? And he wouldn't like that, would he?
No. Wouldn't nobody like that.
Hey, if y'all can do it, I can too. So
segue. So we doing pretty good with these segues, aren't we?
So yes, sir. So it's time for this time of the show that we call What I Don't Like. And at the end of What I Don't Like, I've got 3 burning topics that I'm going to run through in a rapid fire. But I'm going to let y'all get out what you don't like first. Lori, what don't you like?
That people take their vote for granted and their liberties and freedoms. It's just sad with everything that's going on and just the audacity and the foolishness that it's just for people to go through, and that the discussions we talk about, it's just, this is what I don't like. And every day I sit here and to go this one quick story. I was going to the hairdresser, and I think it wasn't necessarily when you were in Gastonia and you was on the side of the road, but there's a lady that lives about 5 houses up from us who literally stopped me because I'm on the sidewalk, not on her land, not even on her property, the sidewalk, which is public, and asked me what was I doing and where I lived. So, and again,
2024. Yeah.
right. So that's what I don't like. People taking their liberties for granted and foolishness.
You should have gave her a 2-piece for the road.
She was 80. I can't do that. I don't
Right.
want to see
You're old enough to fall.
Actually, it's easier when they're older, Lord.
Exactly.
She lived her life.
You could have just blew on her.
She lived her life.
CJ,
That's all I'm
exactly.
gonna say.
I agree. CJ, what don't you like?
Y'all know me. Yeah, I like violence.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Okay, all right. So what I don't like, guys, it's actually two things, but I'm just gonna talk about the one. Just this whole I'm gonna combine them. This is a movement culture appropriation. And what I mean by that is every time it seems like we have a really good cause to go forward, to bring something to society's attention, to launch our particular culture forward, to bring awareness and for the betterment of our culture, then it gets appropriated, demonized, bastardized, and then it loses its meaning because they want to take on phrases like, oh, that's woke, or whatever the case may be. The reason why I brought that up is because I happen to be looking at Facebook today, and someone just put out a simple comparison. Are you Target or are you Walmart? And that's what the post said. That was it. And then down in the comments, some pink colored person decided, they say to put a comment in, Target is too woke for me. And I'm like,
you mean they was too woke for their Stanley Cups? That's what they was too woke for in the special color? That's what they was too woke for?
I'm just like, what? Okay, either do the comparison or don't, or do something, but really?
Yep.
I'm just so sick of appropriating something that really doesn't have nothing to do with you or your culture or anything. Black Lives Matter, the movement, demonized, bastardized. I mean, I can go on and on, but I'm just so done with people taking our real true causes and watering them down to where, you know, you don't even want to say shit no more. But that's it.
Gotcha. JP, what don't you like?
You know what I don't like as the trend of the de-evolution of our society and culture, particularly Black culture, where when you look back, even after the advent of 400 years of some of the most despicable treatment in the world, when you look at the late 1800s, early 1900s, where Black communities had banded together, they had their trades, they had their land. You flash forward to the 20s and stuff. When you looked at our society, look at those pictures back there, those brothers dressed sharply in suits and stuff like that. And to now we have Charlotte. And whether it's the Cam Newton fight, whether it's the Housewives shows, whether it's the Sexy Reds or all the Christine, whatever her name in Blueface, and I can only think of Krishan, and I can only think of one Blueface. In fact, for Blueface to only have one song that I can kind of remember, it's a lot. We have to see them all the time.
I didn't even know he had a song. I just didn't know where he came from. I just didn't know where that whole thing came from.
So what I don't like is how culturally we seem to be sliding backwards in terms of how we're getting further away from being where education is championed, where civility, where we're being moderate and stuff. It's about shaking my ass. It's about clout chasing, people doing anything and everything just for a little bit of attention. I don't like it. I think that we're better than that. I think it does start at the house. I think everything starts at the house. I think it's your parents and stuff. I don't like how women that have never been married are raising women now to demand things of men that they could never gain for themselves.
Mm.
I don't like any of that culture. So
Mm.
that's what I don't like.
Okay. Well, what I'm gonna do is throw in a different variation this week, and this is how we're gonna end the show. And no, it's not syphilis, Lori. Um, but what burns me, I got two. I had three, but I'm gonna cut it down to two because we're running low on time. First and foremost, I want to give flowers to Beyonce for becoming the first African American woman to top the country charts with her song "Texas Hold'em." This has been met with a whole lot of controversy, as has been said. Why would Beyonce dip her toe into country music? She should stay in her lane. And there's a lot of things that burn inside of me when people say that, because it's not what they are saying, is what they're really saying when they say things like that. I did have the opportunity the other day where a gentleman had said to me when the song came on, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get tired of this song. I don't know why she thought it was necessary to do that. She's bigger than that. Why does she have to do that?" And the first thing I asked the gentleman is, I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Why isn't she able to sing this song? Is there not a certain sense of validity because a black woman is singing a country music song? Black folks have sang country music for years, whether it's Aaron Neville, whether it's been Darius Rucker, so many people
Charlie
have already
Parker.
Charlie Parker. A lot of people have sang country music. It's not a one people's thing. Uh, but when I further impressed the gentleman about it, I was like, he's like, yeah, but why didn't she just keep doing what she was doing? I said, well, what makes it where none of us can evolve and reach out and branch out and do other things than what we are currently doing? Would you want somebody to tell you, just because this is what you've done all your life, you should not embark on any opportunities to advance and develop and grow? Once I brought it to his attention, he actually sat there and said, "You know what? Thank you for checking me." He says, "Because I didn't think about it that way." He says, "I was in some kind of rabbit hole of thinking that just because of what I hear is what I should always hear." And kudos to Beyonce, because it takes a lot of courage to be able to step out and do something and go against the grain, not knowing what kind of reception that you may get as a result of it. As my first burning issue. So congratulations to Queen Bey on that. And lastly, Mr. Addison Mitchell McConnell has announced that after being old as Methuselah, he is going to finally step down from y'all know the Congress and the Senate. He's going to step down from Senate leadership in the Republican Party, whether he's in the minority or majority. As of November, they will elect a new leader, whether they're in the minority or majority. And to this, I say, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. He is not planning on leaving the Senate, at least not on his own 2 feet, probably in a hearse, hopefully. Um, because Mitch McConnell, by far, everything that we talked about today, has had such a hand to play in a lot of this. He was the one that sat there and denied Barack Obama the right to nominate Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court, which tilted the court, using some bullshit, talking about that it was too close to an election, even though it was 11 months away, and that the people needed to decide who the next Supreme Court justice was, not the president that the people elected to make the damn decision in the first place. And then this sack of shit turns back around after Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. Her body ain't even cold in the ground yet, a week before the election, and decides that it's not too early to take Amy Coney Barrett, Donald Trump's nomination, and put her trifling ass on the Supreme Court, thus tilting the court even more conservative instead of going from a 5-4 to a 6-3. So Addison Mitchell McConnell, keep it moving, bro. Ain't nobody clapping for you. There's no standing ovation. Just see your way to the exit, bro. Those are my burning points for this week. Thank y'all for joining us for another week of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I'd like to thank my panel, Lori Parker, CJ Jones, Mr. TNTBS, And as always, the franchise, Mr. Jermaine Parker. We'll see y'all again next week. Y'all take care.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a